What a way to start a drive. There are potholes everywhere. There are speed bumps, there are little viaducts. They're everywhere. So for those of you who are just driving here for the very first time, I have a couple of strong recommendations based on my experience. Number one, drive slow. Just be careful. Number two, you're going to be seeing puddles of varying sizes and or amounts of water in them. Go slowly through them because you literally do not know if there is a pothole underneath. What you're looking at right now is the Malecon, and to my right is a restaurant called Lazy Jack's. I've been there a couple of times. The Malecon is lovely. And there's a number of restaurants here to the left. You've seen them as I've gone through the Malecon before. So here's a little dip, so just make sure you slow down. And really, when you're driving through this area specifically, there can be a lot of people, so just go slow. It doesn't cost you anything to drive carefully. So let's see, a couple of things. What have I experienced? What have I learned? A number of things. Number one, closing your gate. If you're staying somewhere where there's a gate and they tell you to close it, you need to close it because there are wild horses all over the place. And they'll come in, they'll eat the flowers, they will eat the grass, they will just start chomping on everything. And they'll also leave behind a bunch of les poop, which is French for the poop. It's a beautiful day today. We've had some crazy rain when I first got here, and then it's rained off and on throughout the days. But these houses are great. And you'll see just what I was talking about with the potholes. These people are driving on my side because they want to drive through that area. And occasionally you'll see some artwork. I can't believe it'll be my last day here on Vieques. Actually, to the left here is a house with a couple of Steelers flags. The only house I've seen in all my walking where someone has put up flags of their favorite football team. I'll tell you what, those Steelers fans, they are hardcore. And, that's that. So I am actually headed to my new favorite place to get some breakfast. It is called Rincón del Sabor. And I don't know what the Rincón is, but Del Sabor is literal translation of the flavor. So I think what they're really trying to say is their food is very flavorful. And like I said, you see these brown patches here on the road, they are the horse poop. So I'm driving along, and this road is kind of turny, twisty, and one of the other things too with my Airbnb is that there are roosters like all around the neighborhood. They they will wake you up in the morning until you get used to it. And if you're a light sleeper, you're not gonna get used to it. You're just gonna wake up at all hours. They usually crow around, I don't know, like 4 p.m. And then again, they start up around 4:30 a.m. And I guess they sense the sun is going down or the sun is going up. So sunrise has typically been around 6:30. Sunset has been around 5:45. And one of the things I have felt for me is I don't want to drive in the dark. So if you are able to see some of this video, there's no lights here. And if there are horses roaming around, I mean, you don't want to hit a horse. No one wants to hit anything. But I just feel like it's safer for me, especially on roads I don't know, that I want to be back home or where I'm staying by the time it gets dark. So I've been making sure I got home by 5 o'clock, 5:15. I think one night I pushed it of 5:30. But it was good. I don't mind going out for a walk at night. It's very safe. I found it very safe here in Esperanza, and I really enjoyed it. One of the great things here is that you see the green grass, the green trees. There's a lot of greenery. You see a horse coming walking toward us. We're trotting at this point, and there's a taxi. I have found that some of the people driving here, they are a little crazy on the on the roads. I try to go slow or slowish. I stay in like the 25 to 30 miles per hour speed limit, because you just don't know what's going to come around a corner or around this bend here, because vegetation's grown out and you can't see necessarily above it. But I'll tell you what, it's beautiful. Beautiful day today. I have been using sun protection, sunscreen, SPF 100 on my legs, and I think 70 on my face, and I've got a big wide-brimmed hat that has been protecting my face. One of the other challenges here is that you'll see this is a stop sign, but the paint is all faded. So I'm supposed to stop. The people on the coming toward me are supposed to stop, and the people right here are supposed to come through. I don't know. I always stop here. If I'm making that turn, I've always stopped, because people don't necessarily stop at those stop signs. One thing I have found here in Vieques has been, when I have spoken with people who live here year-round, people who are Viequenese, everyone is extremely friendly. I've come across people who are from the Big Island of Puerto Rico and they moved here, and yeah, like I said, or they're from various places around the U.S. And yeah, I'm excited by the fact that I've just met a lot of nice people. I think, or at least I hope that here people gravitate here because people are accepting, they're friendly, they're nice. And again, you'll see I slowed down there because these roads are kind of narrow, although this is a wider road, which is great. Yesterday, I was in Isabel Segundo, and I'm walking around, and there were this group of 4 women, and I was walking toward them, and they initiated a conversation with me in English. I thought that was rather forward of them to not start talking to me in Spanish first. Yeah, I know that wasn't funny. I tried. But it turns out that one of the women I mentioned I was originally from New Jersey, and she mentioned she's also from New Jersey, and she also mentioned that she went to the same college that I did, as did her brother, and they were, I think she was like 7 years behind. Like, I graduated, and then 7 years later she started, or something, or she graduated 7 years after I did. No biggie. But I saw her and her friends, and they came from the Big Island to check out Vieques, but they literally had no plan of what they wanted to do, what they wanted to accomplish. They wanted to go to a beach, but the reality is, well, there's a lot of seaweed on some of the beaches, and there's not a lot to do per se, because of the fact that we are not in the real tourist season, and a lot of places have closed for the season. Maybe they're doing repairs, cleaning, but there's really not a high expectation of a lot of customers coming through the doors at lodges, hotels, etc. And there's a horse, and you can see that truck just came over to my side of the road because, you guessed it, potholes. I don't know if you can see the pothole, but one thing you should count on, if there's one horse, there's 2 or 5. So here we have 4, and we only saw that first one. Here's a pothole I'm going to avoid. One of the fun things, or not fun things, but I found was that where I'm staying, the roosters or chickens, I think it's roosters, they hop into people's yards, but not in like the few houses where I am. So I find that interesting. And like I said before, if you don't close your gate, the horses are coming in. So you should be ready for that. There are a variety of dogs. yappy dogs, friendly dogs. The dog across the street is super friendly. That gate comes open. He wants me to pet him. He's a nice old dog, friendly, and I call him Viejo Perrito, which is Spanish for old little dog. Yesterday when I was in Isabel 2, I went to a fort, and I've got some pictures and stuff and some little videos, but it's an old fort, and unfortunately Google says it's permanently closed. It's not. I think that's probably there from the pandemic, but I went there, I went walking. I ended up passing these 3 abuelas, which is Spanish for grandmothers, and when I walked by them, I said, "Hola, señoritas." Now, señoritas means young ladies, and they all smiled that I said young ladies, and one of them said gracias, which is thank you, but they were super friendly. I thought it was really cool to see them talking with each other and laughing and smiling. I don't know, I just like that. It just means, maybe you have some hardships, but in that moment, you're content. You're with your friends, and like I said, you're happy. So we're probably about 5 minutes away from Rincón del Sabor, and you can see I'm about to go over a pothole. I slowed down. That's your best bet. There's some goats over there. I wonder if it's for goat yoga. Unfortunately, there was a dead rooster there. Those guys just run across the street. Now I slowed down there because there was a stretch of road that was changing color, and I was like, hey now, and I'm not a rock star. So Gravero y Ferreteria Nales. I'm not really sure what that is, but I always like to pronounce that RR sound because that's the hardest letter to pronounce in Spanish, but once you got that down, you can do the rest. So, oh, hello clouds. Yeah, it's been raining off and on a regular basis. One thing I did not get to do was go to the bioluminescent bay, but I'm gonna have to plan that for another time. So we are about to arrive at Rincón del Sabor. So I am going to close out this video. Y'all take care.